This is Afternoon Sports Slay with the Queen, Micah K. Now remember, I'm doing this for the love of the game. Alright, let's get into it. This is Football Wine Wednesdays. I couldn't do a regular show with you guys this week, but I'll be back next week and you get to see my precious and beautiful face. Now make sure you get those wine glasses out. All my ladies, all my fellas, okay? Make sure you tap in, all my slayers and slayettes. Now listen, I cannot sip this week, so sip for me. I know it's not Basketball Wine Wednesdays, but it's a lot of juice in the NBA right now, so I had to post one tweet up. Listen, Kyrie and Harden juice is getting thick. Listen, you know how like OJ with the pulp in it thick? That's how thick basketball is right now. So what I might have to do next week, I'm gonna have to do a little football because I know it's the playoffs, and then I'm definitely gonna have to transition in basketball because I have to give you guys my full thoughts and opinions on that. Okay, now also boxing talk will be back by the end of the month, so make sure you tap in, and maybe it might come back even a little bit before, like the second to last week in January. So all my boxing fans, make sure you're looking out for that too. Now let's get into this first tweet. Okay, this is Nick Wright. He is a sports analyst. Okay, now his Twitter handle is @GetNickWright. Let's see what he's talking about. He said this is an all-time bad loss for Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. He's talking about the Seahawks. Both are obviously minted, and Russ is one of my favorites. And I know the Rams defense is spectacular, but losing in this fashion at home to a team without a quarterback just can't happen. Okay, he's talking about how bad the Seahawks played. He feel like they definitely should have came through better. Now, that was January 9th, and he tweeted that at 7:46. Now, we're going to kind of keep it light and just really straight to the point on this one. Let's get into the second tweet, all right, at Emmanuel Ogbah. Okay, hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm definitely going to get his name correct. He was a former linebacker who played in the NFL. Now he's an NFL analyst, and he's a New York Times bestseller. Okay, let's get into his tweet. He says, I'm the minority on Tomlin's decision to punt, but the Browns' previous two drives were three and out, and then 6 plays totaling 227 seconds of play clock. Okay, it didn't work, but I don't blame Tomlin for not wanting to risk giving Browns the ball at midfield. All right, he's talking about, because basically I posed the question too when I was watching the Steelers game, the Steelers versus the Browns, when it felt like the Steelers had a little bit of momentum, and I felt like, okay, the Steelers should have went for it on that 4th and 1. Okay, because listen, your back is against the wall, you need to get a touchdown. It looked like things was at least going in your direction somewhat. Now why not go for the 4th and 1? But Emmanuel was saying, listen, he understands why Mike didn't go for it. Okay, now let's get into the third tweet by Roger Sherman. Okay, his Twitter handle is @Roger. He's talking about Devontae Smith. Now this was the national championship game if you watch college football. Okay, this was Alabama versus Ohio State. Now let's get into his tweet. He says, before Devontae Smith, 2 wide receivers had won the Heisman Trophy, Tim Brown and Desmond Howard. Their combined full season stats was 1,831 yards and 22 touchdowns. Now, Devontae Smith this season, this was at the halfway point with half to go. He had 1,856 yards, 23 touchdowns. Now, he tweeted this at 9:51. This is a really big deal because a lot of people are saying Smith is that one. They're basically saying he's one of the best receivers they have ever seen. Now Sherman is basically his title that he said on Twitter. He's a professional internetsman, okay, at The Ringer. Some of you should be familiar with The Ringer if you follow sports. They have a podcast as well. Now, I was going for Alabama, of course, because my dad was born and raised in Alabama before he moved to Detroit. So you already know what it is. It's Roll Tide. Now, let's get into a little bit of basketball, okay? This just happened a few hours ago. I wanted to get this tweet in there. This is from Stephen A. Smith, who is a analyst/journalist. Okay, he is on First Take. Most of you guys should definitely be familiar with Stephen A. Smith if you love sports. Okay, so he said, okay, this is breaking news. He said, I think Kyrie Irving should announce his retirement today. So this is what I mean by the juice in the NBA right now is crazy. So that's why I gotta tap into basketball next week. I cannot go without touching on this. I'm gonna let the dust settle a little bit, and then we're gonna get into the basketball, but we still gonna do the football as well, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that is it. Remember, I'm doing this for the love of the game. I told you guys I'm cooking. I promised you something that I have very, very in store. It's going to be a surprise. It will be coming in the next week or two for sure. Now, remember to tap in with the queen. Remember to hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that notification bell. And there's so much more on the way. I'm out.